boom, we're back. So before we actually hop into the first game of the episode, we do have a few things to go over, and the first one is the 2023 first-year player draft, as we are in the start of June, so it is time for the draft, where we had the 29th overall pick, because of course we made it to the World Series last year, so we have a late-round pick, and with that 29th overall pick, we made a selection for the left-handed pitcher out of Louisiana, Bud Vincent, and then in the second round, we took a right-handed pitcher out of Ohio named James Thomason. In the third round, we took Sean John, a right-handed pitcher from Texas. In the fourth, we took a right-handed pitcher from Florida named Jordan Bolger. And then in the fifth round, we took Derek Joy, a third baseman from Ohio. And in the sixth round, we took Lucius Geary, a first baseman from doesn't matter where, because we did not sign him because he is awful. And as always, the reason why I go through these so quickly and don't show their exact ratings is because these guys are either going to end up getting their own prospect profiles, or you will just see them in the minor league update videos in the next season. Or even possibly in like one of these mini updates I do in between the games like I'm doing right now. And the first team we are going to be playing today is going to be the Atlanta Braves. Before we actually get into that game, we do have to go over a few things going on with the team. So the standings right now, Giants still in first place, pretty comfortable, 2.5 game lead. Padres still very much in the race. Rockies also still very much in the race at 4.5 back. While the Dodgers are actually below 500 at the moment. They've been struggling a bit recently. And the Giants, once again, are a team that hit a lot of home runs. We are currently 5th in home runs in all of baseball, tied for 4th in the times in the least amount of times struck out on offense. We also have the least amount of errors committed in 11, and we have the best fielding percentage in the major leagues. Now, fielding percentage and errors are definitely not stats that tell the whole story when it comes to defensive metrics. There are definitely better stats out there, but it is still neat to see that the Giants do lead the league in the least amount of errors and have the best fielding percentage. And on the pitching side of things, we have the second best team ERA, as our starting rotation has been incredible this season, and then we also have the second least amount of hits allowed, which is also very good to see. We're only 6th in most strikeouts, which is still very good, still top half of the league. It's just not as insane last season where we had like an incredible lead on everybody, because guys like Robbie Ray were just striking at everybody, and it seemed like our bullpen was also just filled with guys who were just sort of filthy last season. Well, our bullpen has been a bit shaky this season and not striking at as many people. And one of the big reasons why our offense has been so good has been Elliot Ramos. He has been incredible this year for the Giants, second highest OPS in the National League currently. He also has the second most WAR. He's only .1 behind Aaron Judge of the Chicago Cubs, so a very good season so far for Ramos. And then Derek Rodriguez has actually overtaken Dylan Bundy for the best ERA in the National League with a 1.67 ERA. And then Bundy still pitching very well with a 1.98 ERA. He is second in the National League. So we have the 1-2 ERA guys in the league, and they're both sub-2s. And that's a big reason why our team ERA is so good. We also made a roster move to our bullpen, as, like I mentioned, our bullpen has been shaky. One of those spots that has been shaky this year is that long reliever spot. We really haven't been able to get a guy to stick there. As Braylon Marquez came up to be in the long reliever spot, he has been sent back down to AAA because in the 6th and 3rd innings that he pitched, he got rocked around quite a bit and he had some serious control issues. So Braylon Marquez going back down to AAA to work on his stuff, and Tyler Beede is back up in the big league bullpen as a long reliever. Gonna try to give him an extended shot in our bullpen because his ratings have taken a pretty decent jump over the past few seasons, so I'm hoping he's able to show that at the big league level. And also, the Atlanta Braves are going to be playing without one of their players in Joe Adell. He broke his hand. You may be asking yourself, well, how did the Braves even get Joe Adell? And that is because they traded with the Angels. They basically swapped one young guy for the other. Joe Adell just never got any consistent playing time with the Angels, so they sent him to the Braves, and in return, they got a potential young starting pitcher, Ian Anderson. And Adell was finally getting consistent ABs in his career, and he finally gets hurt, so broken hand for Adell. He will not be in this upcoming game. And we are diving into the action here. Giants and Braves taking on each other here at Oracle Park. Braves sending out the veteran right-hander Cookie Carrasco, making his 13th start of the season. Had a bit rough of a 5 ERA this year, and he'll be opposed by the young lefty Jay Groom, making his 12th start, sub-4 ERA, 5-1 record. Giants lineup 1-2-9, there you have it, as well as the Braves lineup 1-2-9. We'll start things off bottom half of the first inning, where Manny Margot is going to get the game started for the Giants by going opposite way into right field for a base knock, so he's on first. Brings up last year's king of the first inning home run in Jock Peterson, and you bet your ass he's hitting one here. An absolute bomb from Jock Peterson gets the Giants started off 2-0 lead, his 18th home run of the season. So 2-0 Giants is the score as we move things along to the top of the second, where Waters comes to the plate, and he draws himself a walk with 1 out. So he's on first, goes and swipes second base to get himself into scoring position as he swipes it on Bart, and then Ubayashi with his piss yellow cleats comes to the plate, or he's been at the plate, and then he pops it up to center field. Margot is camped under it, Waters just kind of sitting in between the bags, not even thinking about tagging up, so he's still on second with 2 outs, brings up the catcher Jackson, who then grinds out to first base for the final out. Still a 2-0 game. Top of the third, Ozzie Albies doing the same thing as Waters, a 1-out walk. He's on first base, and then he also follows Waters with swiping second base. So runner on second with 1 out. Brings up, Dansby swats to the plate, hits a ball past the glove of Joey Gallo, could not make the snag on it. Albies has some fleet feet, so he's able to score easily, and the lead is cut in half, 2-1 now. On to the top of the fourth, Johan Camargo going down the right field line. This ball's hit so hard he's only able to get a single from it, though, as Ramos reacts to it quite quickly. Gets it into second base. Next batter up was Waters, who gets one through the left side of the infield, so back-to-back singles for the Giants. First and second, nobody out for Ubayashi and his cleats, and he's going to pop one up to left field. Peterson puts it away on the fly. And next batter up would be Jackson, who grinds into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. Baez, Yamada, and Fuentes. On to the bottom of the fourth now. Gilberto Fuentes at the dish now, and he's going to rip one into right center field. Ubayashi could not make the diving catch. So Fuentes, he's got the fleet feet, and he's able to get into third base. Throw from the cutoff man flies over the head of the third baseman. Fuentes didn't realize there was a man backing it up, so he tries to go home. Ends up getting gunned down, diving back into third base, so nothing going in the inning. We move things on to the sixth, where the Massachusetts native Tyler Beatty comes on for the Giants with 2 outs, and he works a 1-2-3 inning as he gets a fly ball to Peterson in left field. Came on for a second inning of work where Waters is going to tie the game with an absolute bomb. That's a splash hit, and it's a 2-2 ball game as Waters ties the game up. Beatty would end up settling down as he gets out of the inning with 3 quick outs after that, capped off by a Nomar Mazara pinch hit pop-up to the first baseman Fuentes, and we move things on to the bottom of the ninth, where Shane Carl came on for the 8th, stayed on for the 9th, and he would strike out Javi Baez to send this game to extra innings. So pick things up, bottom half of the 10th, Caleb Dirks on the hill for the Giants, facing Joey Gallo to lead off the inning. He takes ball 4, so he's on first base. Next batter up, Gilberto Fuentes, also takes ball 4, so back-to-back walks for the Giants, nobody out. Elliot Ramos at the dish, swings through a pitch, strike 3, so 1 down first and second now. Brings up Joey Bart, he's also going to whiff through, this time a slider, so back-to-back strikeouts, all of a sudden it's 2 down. Brings up Peter Mooney, the 5'6" hit machine. He hits a line drive at the right field, but it's going to be caught by Ubayashi as it's still tied up. Heading to the 11th now, Ryan Presley comes on for the Giants. He is facing Johan Camargo, who draws himself a walk, so he's on first base. Jose Iglesias then comes on to pinch run, and he immediately goes and swipes second base, gets himself into scoring position, so runner on second, 1 out for Waters, who grinds at the first base, so 2 down, but the runner is on third base. As then it brings up the piss yellow cleats, and he does not even attempt to swing on the 98-mile-an-hour up-and-in cheese as Presley gets out of the jam. Jason Tutman then comes on for the 12th as we are still tied. And with 1 out, it would be Austin Riley, the pinch hitter, gets a generous ball 4 call. Tutman not happy about it whatsoever, throws his hat on the ground even. So runner on first, Now with 2 outs, and Dansby Swanson gets jammed, and this ball is going to land in for a hit. Ramos gets it in quickly, so it's only going to be first and second with 2 outs, as then the big bat of Acuna hits a line drive at the left field, but Peterson makes the play at the track, and we are still tied here at 2. Jesse Biddle came on for the Braves in the 12th inning, stayed on for the 13th, and with 1 out, Joey Bart draws himself a walk, so he'll take his base. Runner on first, 1 down. Peter Mooney also draws a walk, so first and second brings up Chase Numata to pinch hit the last batter on the bench for the Giants. 0-1 count, going up the middle. That gets into center field. Bart rounding third, heading home. The throw to the plate from Waters guns him. We are still tied. Runners on the corners now with 2 outs, as Numata's hit could not end the game, but it brings up Manny Margot. 1-2 count to him, rips the ball into left field, and that will end the game, as Manny Margot walks it off with an RBI single, drives in Peter Mooney, and the Giants finally walk it off in the 13th inning, as they beat the Braves in this one by a score of 3-2. Jock Peterson ends up getting player of the game honors for his 1 hit on the day, which was the 2-run shot in that first inning, and then the Giants would not score again until the 13th. Not a lot of offensive action in this one, as each team only had 7 hits in a 13-inning ballgame. Now heading things on a little bit later into the month of June, and as you can see, the San Diego Padres have actually taken the division lead. The Giants are now 3 games back out of first place, as we've hit a funk recently. We've been playing poorly, getting beat up by a few teams, and the Padres have taken advantage of that. Well, looks like the NL West is pretty much becoming a race between us and the Padres for the NL West, while the Rockies and Dodgers are starting to look like they're just more going to be contenders for a wild card spot. And because we've been struggling a bit, we're making a few roster moves. The first one being Seth Beer has been called up. He actually has been performing very well in AAA the past 2 seasons, and as a result of that, he's actually been performing well against left-handed pitching. So his left-handed pitching hitting ratings are actually better than his right-handed pitching hitting ratings as a left-handed bat. So that's very unusual to see, but that does happen a pretty decent amount in this game because there's no actual way to guarantee what gets upgraded, because it's all pretty much randomized because this game doesn't have a really great progression system. Add that to the list of 3 bazillion things that need to be added to this game. So you may have assumed since Seth Beer's been called up, that means that Seth Mejias Breen, the other Seth, has been sent down to AAA. He just wasn't getting it done in the big league, so he's back down in Sacramento. While Tetsuya Yamada has actually been sent down to AAA for the first time in his major league career. He had a sub-600 OPS in the big leagues, which is not what you like to see. He still just hasn't been able to replicate what he did for us in that first season. Even when he does get time as the everyday second baseman, he still just cannot replicate that first year he had for us, and I'm starting to think that this might be Yamada's last season with us. He might be traded either at the deadline, maybe for some good relief pitching, or in the offseason in a part of a sign-and trade, because he does have a couple years of team control left through arbitration. So Sheldon Noisy has been called up from AAA to be the backup infielder. He's never really gotten a chance with us in the big leagues before. He's been up in pretty much he has been up in every September call-up since we've acquired him from the A's in, I believe, the Mark Melancon trade a couple seasons ago. But he's never really gotten an extended shot, so he's going to get one here as the backup infielder. Normally, I would have looked at Abital Avellino to get this spot, but he has been bad in AAA, so he didn't get the call. And then also Sherwood Mooney, you would think, would possibly get the shot, but he did not get added to the 40-man and called up because he is hurt yet again. He has a broken shin, so Sherwood Mooney missing more extended time because his durability is still not where we would like it to be. It's definitely gone up a decent amount. It's in the 60s, I believe, right now, but it's still not at an ideal level. I also wanted to send down Stuart Fairchild, as he has been not great this season, but he is out of options, so I didn't want to send him down because I don't want to risk losing him through waivers. Obviously, we know that Stuart Fairchild was very good for us last year against lefties, and then he was extremely clutch in the playoffs, probably our best playoff performer last season, if you ask me. So it's unfortunate to see that he's struggling this year, but I'm hoping he's able to turn things around here in the second half of the season, because he has not had a first half that's any good at all. And I wanted to send him down because I wanted to get a look at this guy we signed before spring training in Connor Panas. Panis. I don't know how you say his name. I'm sure it's one of those. I'd look it up if he actually was in a video, but I'm just too lazy right now. So he is in AAA for us. Like I said, I signed him before spring training. He's a guy who's never gotten a shot in the big leagues with anybody, and he has been raking in AAA for us, and he has pretty great hitting ratings, if you ask me. Not great, but he has pretty good hitting ratings, decent plate skills, decent in the field, so I figured, hey, let's give this guy a shot, but we don't really have room for him right now. And then we also have Joe Gray Jr. in AAA, who is raking down there, and that is good to see for his trade value, because that is probably the most likely outcome with him, is that he is traded at this upcoming trade deadline. It's the fourth game of a four-game set between longtime rivals Giants and Dodgers. Giants have won the first three in the series, so Giants looking to avoid the sweep here in LA. Julio Urias on the hill for the Dodgers, making his 16th start, and he's opposed by the other lefty in Robbie Ray, making his 15th start of the season. Take a look at the Giants lineup 1-2-9, as well as the Dodgers lineup 1-2-9. We'll start things off top half of the second inning, where Joey Gallo is going to start off the scoring with an absolute laser into the right field seats. A long home run for Joey Gallo, as he puts the Giants up 1-0 in this one. Not the way that Julio Urias wanted to start his day. 13th on the season for Gallo. Bottom of the second now, Robbie Ray gets a pop-up here from Wilson Contreras, but it's going to bloop in for a base knock. So he's on first base. Next batter up is Valera, the center fielder, who finds a hole on the right side of the infield, so back-to-back singles. First and second, one out for Yolmer Sanchez. Takes the curveball looking, goes down on the strikeout, and then Julio Urias hits a line drive out to center field. Margot puts it away on the fly, and it's still a 1-0 Giants lead. On to the bottom of the fourth, where Cody Bellinger is going to tie this game up with another absolute shot, basically to the same part of the ballpark, and the lefties are showing off their power in this one. Cody Bellinger, his 15th home run of the season, ties this game up at 1. On to the top of the sixth now, Manny Margot is going to rip a ball into left field. That's going to get over the head of JD Martinez in left, off the wall, basically at the Nike sign, and Margot is in there with an easy double. Next batter up, Javi Baez, or two batters, next batter up, Javi Baez aligns one out the right field. Margot, with a risky tag-up, is able to get in just before the throw, so he's on third base. One out. Joey Gallo, hard-hit ground ball. It's going to be enough to score the run, though. So Joey Gallo, 2 ribbies on the day, and the Giants have a 2-1 lead. And then Joey Bart with a line drive, a frozen rope that is able to just barely sneak over that fence in left field. And it's going to be a 3-1 lead for the Giants now. On to the bottom of the sixth, Cody Bellinger draws himself a walk. Robbie Ray puts a man on, so 2 down, 1 on, and it's going to be ripped into the left center field gap here for a double by Wilson Contreras. That's going to score Bellinger from first base, and the lead is now down to a 1-run lead. 3-2 is the score now, as then Valera draws himself a walk. That would be the end of Robbie Ray's day, so he'll take a seat as then Tanner Scott comes on to relieve him, the hard-throwing lefty with the wild sinker, as he would strike out the first batter he faces in Sanchez to end the inning and get out of the jam. So a 3-2 ball game. Eric Bench comes on for the 46th time this season already for the Dodgers. And take a look at the scouting report on Ness, just a bunch of down-and-away pitches. And he shows off his plate discipline by drawing himself a walk. So he takes his base. Jock Peterson then comes on to pinch hit with a runner on first and 1 out. And he is going to get a base knock into the right center field gap. Ness is going first to third. Peterson trying to go to second, but the throw into the cutoff gets him on the back end of the play. So Ness on third with 2 outs. And Elliot Ramos comes to the plate and hits a ball into left field, gets the RBI, makes it a 4-2 game. Here in the 7th inning, we move on to the 8th inning now. Marcus Solbach comes on for the Dodgers, and with 1 out, Joey Gallo hits another home run. This one's out to right center field, and it gets into those bleachers. His 2nd home run of the day. Joey Gallo puts the Giants on top 5-2. Maranza then comes on with a 3-run lead in the 9th, looking for the save, and he would get just that as he gets Sanchez to go down swinging on the fastball. As the Giants win this game over their rival Dodgers 5-2, they avoid the sweep, but the Dodgers obviously do take the series. Player of the game honors, of course, go to Joey Gallo. 3 ribbies on the day, with one of them being a ground-out RBI, and then the others 2 being 2 solo shots in the day. Joey Bart also homered in this 5-2 victory for the Giants. And if you take a look at the calendar, you'll see that the Giants are starting to get back on track after losing 3 in a 4-game set to the Dodgers. The Giants rebounded by sweeping the Pittsburgh Pirates and then winning a series against the St. Louis Cardinals, so now they're heading into a 2-game set in Boston. And if we take a look at the standings, you'll see that the Giants are back on top of the National League West. The Padres are just 1 measly game behind those, so shaping up to be a pretty tight division race in the NL West, which is what you like to see after, for a while, it was really just the Dodgers dominating and then a bunch of goddamn awful teams behind it. But now we have like 4 legitimate solid teams in the NL West, while the D-backs are just they're the D-backs. We've got some interleague action on tap between 2 very good teams, the Giants and the Red Sox, as they're duking out here at Fenway Park. Boston's going to be sending out their big offseason acquisition of Jose Berrios, who has not had the greatest start to his Red Sox career, but he is on the hill opposed by the lefty, the former Red Sox farmhand first-round pick Jay Groom, making his 16th start of the season. Take a look at the Giants lineup with the DH in it, as well as the Red Sox lineup. We'll start things off top half of the first inning. Manny Margot going to lead off the entire ball game here by peppering one off the monster, and that's going to be bouncing away from Conforto a bit, so Margot is able to use his speed and get into third base with a leadoff triple, a spark plug at that top of the lineup, as then with 1 out, Baez would find a hole in the left side of the infield, drive in Margot, making a 1-0 lead for the Giants. Then the next batter up, Joey Gallo, draws himself a full count walk, so he takes his base. First and second, 1 out for Gilberto Fuentes now. Finds a hole on the right side of the infield. Baez with some aggressive base running, heads home, and he is gunned down by Jose Martinez's throw in right field. So it's runners on the corners, nobody else would come in. We move things on to the top of the second, where the 5'6" hit machine ropes one out to right field, hits off the bottom of the wall. Martinez gets it into the cutoff man, but it's going to be a double for Mooney. Lorenzo Ordonez then hits a fly ball to right field. This one is going to be caught at the track, though, as then Mooney does tag up to third base, gets in before the throw, so it's runner on third, 2 outs. Manny Margot rips one in the left field. That's going to be a base knock, and it's now a 2-0 lead for the Giants. Move things on to the bottom of the second, where Starlin Castro draws himself a 1-out walk, so he's on first. Next batter up, Marcell Ozuna slaps one the opposite way into the corner. Ramos Fields whips it into the cutoff man, so runners on the corners for the Red Sox. Michael Chavis then comes up and pops one up to shallow center field. Margot is camped under it. He puts it away. They do not test his arm to tag up, so it's still runners on the corners now with 2 outs, as then the first baseman Trey Mancini grounds one out to Gallo at third, and it's still a 2-0 game. On to the third now, where Groom is still on the hill, obviously. It's going to be a ground ball base knock for the catcher Christian Vasquez there to lead off the inning. Next batter up to the top of the order with Xander Bogaerts going to the left field line, just barely lands fair. They do not move up Vasquez, though, so it's first and second, nobody out for Jose Martinez, who hits a soft ground ball to second base. Mooney, 4-6-3 double play, so 2 down now. Runner on third base. Brings up the big bat of Andrew Benintendi. Flies one out to right center field, but Ramos is there to put it away for the third and final out of the inning. Then Groom would really start settling in, as in the bottom of the fourth, he strikes out Conforto for the first out. After that, on 3 pitches, it is Starlin Castro going down on the 96-mile-an-hour fastball up and in. And then for the final out of the inning, it's Marcell Ozuna whiffing through the curveball that Groom has really been working this season. So strikes out the side, move on to the top of the fifth, where this ball is fly away out to dead center field. Looks like it could be gone, but instead Michael Conforto making the play on the wall in deep center field. The center fielder for the Red Sox move things on to the bottom of the 6th now, where Xander Bogaerts comes on and he strikes out. Next batter up, Jose Martinez, soft ground out to second base. Easy play for Peter Mooney as he fires over to first. And then for the 3rd out, it would be Andrew Benintendi whipping through the curveball. So 1-2-3 inning for Groom. On to the top of the 8th now, where Daniel Norris came on in the 6th, but he's still on in the game here in the 8th, facing Joey Gallo. First pitch he sees, a line drive down the right field line, over the shift, lands in for a base knock. Joey Gallo, hitter of singles on first base. Next batter up, Gilberto Fuentes, lefty on lefty action, bloops one into left field. Gallo was running the whole way, so he goes into third base, plus Ozuna has some trouble with it, so it's second and third. Then Joey Bart is intentionally walked, so it's bases loaded with 1 out for Peter Mooney, who is 3 for 3 on the day and also no slouch against lefties. And he hits a line drive at the center field. It is going to be caught by Conforto, but it is going to be enough to tag up Gallo, so the Giants do take a 3-0 lead. It was a close play at the plate, but Gallo does score. On to the 9th, Groom looking for the complete game shutout, but he walks the first batter, Bogaerts. 8 innings for him, 3 hits, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts. But then the Giants say, you know what, we're not going to risk anything, so Reyes Moronta comes on looking for the save, and he would get just that. Gets the 3rd out and a ground ball to third base. Joey Gallo steps in the bag for the force out, and that is your final score, 3-0. Giants win this one here over the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. There is no dirty water today. Obviously, Jay Groom gets the player of the game honors against his former organization. 8 innings pitched, like I said, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts, 3 walks in the day. Great start for Jay Groom. While on the offensive side of things, Manny Margot had 3 hits on the day, while Peter Mooney had himself a 3-hit day, 3 for 3, and then he had a sac fly, so that does not count as an AB. But with that being said, that's going to wrap things up here for this edition of the San Francisco Giants franchise. I've been your host, Jerseyborn, and I am saying, I feel like I have a duty to be the #1 Jock Peterson fan in tonight's real-life home run derby.